Welcome to SFF180 and night 1 of the 12 Days of Halloween 2018. Tonight, a popular teacher and coach is charged with the dreadful murder of a little boy, but equally strong evidence places him both at the crime scene and hundreds of miles away when the killing took place. In The Outsider, that's the book I'm reviewing tonight. Hello everyone, Thomas here, your host as always. Thank you so much for joining me. Stephen King isn't just a writer, he's an American institution and industry, and he's gotten that way over nearly 50 years of creating a regular and reliable stream of stories that filter American anxieties through the sieve of popular horror. I mention reliable because King has a pretty sharply defined storytelling comfort zone that, while he has occasionally strayed out of it, with varying degrees of success, he succeeds most often when he gives his readers precisely what they want and expect. The Outsider is trademark Stephen King, a small-town setting in which the lives of fairly privileged upper-middle-class Americans who would rarely, if ever, experience horror and violent crime in their day-to-day are utterly upended and, for some of them, destroyed by an encounter with the very essence of evil. Not just your everyday doppelganger story, The Outsider examines the notion that evil can wear whatever face it chooses. Here the setting is the fictitious Flint City, Oklahoma. A young child has been mutilated and murdered in the most horrible way imaginable. And Detective Ralph Anderson, following the evidence, very publicly arrests Terry Maitland, a popular Little League baseball coach considered such a pillar of the community that he was voted Flint City's Man of the Year for 2015. Anderson has what seems to be an airtight string of evidence. Not only are Maitland's fingerprints all over the crime scene as well as vehicles tied to the crime, but a series of credible eyewitnesses report encountering Maitland both before and after the murder took place. And the eyewitnesses who saw him afterwards report Maitland to be amiable and chatty and not the least bit concerned that people are seeing him covered in blood and offering feeble excuses for it. But Maitland doggedly insists on his innocence, and his aggressive attorney and family friend Howie Gold is turning up his own equally powerful evidence proving Maitland was miles away at the time attending a literary conference. Not only are there traveling companions, as well as fingerprint evidence placing Maitland at the conference hotel, but there is even local news video footage with audio of Maitland standing and speaking during a Q&A session. Can it be possible for a man to be in two places at once? Detective Anderson's resolve is shaking, and when things go from bad to worse before Maitland's arraignment even takes place, he quickly becomes obsessed with learning the truth. And if Maitland was truly innocent, bringing the guilty party to justice and making whatever amends he can for a grave moral and professional failure. But Anderson has little idea just what kind of guilty party he's about to encounter. No one is quite prepared for what they're about to face, except perhaps for Holly Gibney, a private investigator whom regular King readers will know from the Bill Hodges trilogy, beginning with Mr. Mercedes. And while you don't have to have read that trilogy in order to enjoy this novel, I should mention that if you haven't, The Outsider drops heavy spoilers throughout. Holly is one of King's most appealing recent characters. She's a complete introvert, comfortable with habits, someone you'd assume wholly unsuited to the job of investigator, where one is typically called to deep dive into the lives of others. But Holly's personality, in fact, gives her extraordinary empathy and a willingness to pursue the truth through an unwavering commitment to honesty. Characterization is King's strong suit, and always has been. Even when his plots have faltered, reading his books gives you the feeling that you've been in the company of real people who breathe with life. Holly, Ralph Anderson, and the other characters who joined them on their journey to ferret out the truth of the outsider, such as the Latino cop, Yune Sablo, and a lovably cantankerous old Southern lady actually named Lovey Bolton. They all become players who fill the story with warmth. If you've read a lot of Stephen King, the way the plot resolves won't surprise most of you, and the resolution might even seem to unfold a bit too easily, if not anticlimactically. But as I said, reliable is Stephen King's middle name, and I think most of you will find The Outsider delivers exactly the suspense and thrills you're hoping for on a chilly October evening. And that's all I have time for on this episode of SFF180, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining me. Remember the most important thing, these are reviews. You will not always agree with me, but if you enjoyed watching, please hit that like button, share the video, and above all, please subscribe. If you have not done so, that is how SFF180 grows as a channel. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon. Want to welcome a new Patreon supporter? Thank you very much. I want to thank those people for their added support. I want to thank you people for being the very best viewers in all of BookTube. And until I see you tomorrow night for night 2 of the 12 Days of Halloween 2018, spooky reading.